Welcome back, Cultlings. Here we are with part 2. So buckle up, get a snack, and let's enjoy what happens to Miles. We return and find Miles on a padded cell, specifically Father Martin's personal chambers. Personally, I would never allow such filth in my sacred space. Not because he's unenlightened or, refuses to drink the Kool-Aid like a good little lamb, but because journalists are just essentially professional stitches with liberal arts degrees. Ew. I cannot stand them. Anyway, this is where Miles meets the twins, and yes, they are completely naked, and yes, they immediately want to kill Miles for whatever reason. But don't worry, they won't. Well, not yet anyway, because Martin told them not to. Which is kind of cute, real stepdad trying to manage custody weekend kind of energy. Let's talk about cult management. These two are clearly not ideal followers. They stand there with their junk out, whispering about murder, and still waiting for permission like they're in some sort of blood-soaked version of Simon Says. If they were my cultlings, Miles would have been escorted out respectfully, maybe offered a scone, not whatever HBO After Dark nonsense this is. Anyway, Miles does his best Andy Dufresne impression, witnesses the defiling of a corpse, and then continues onward. So we jump down this hole, as per usual, and we also meet this man in a cell, and he has some interesting words to share with us.
They weren't experiments, they were rituals, a conjuring.
Ah yes, the classic corporate-funded demon summoning approach. Clearly Murkoff skipped the basics. Everyone knows that in your ritual spellbook there should include a clause preventing the entire asylum from being overrun by bloodthirsty patients. That's like on page 14. Come on, everyone knows this one. So Miles gets chased by this lovely gentleman. He escapes. Then we run into the twins again, and this time they're like, we're so done waiting, it's time to kill Miles. Honestly, this is another case of L cult members. They don't even have good robes. After we give them the slip, we come upon here and, oh, look at that, right on cue. We witness our good friend Chris Walker rip a man's head clean off his shoulders. You know, this is a lot like the time when I visited... You know what? Never mind. Statute of limitations might still apply right now. After narrowly avoiding the twins during the world's most traumatic shower scene, Miles stumbles upon a big red button. And what does our fearless journalist do? Well, he presses it, of course. Clearly, Miles did not read the button, because that button clearly was to summon Chris Walker. Journalist. Miles manages to escape through a vent like the panicked raccoon he is, only to get flung out this window by an explosion, landing gracefully in a pile of bodies. Now, this is kind of upsetting. These bodies could have been used for a much better purpose than a modern art masterpiece. Not only that, but it's now pitch black. Oh yeah, and Chris Walker's down here. Way to go, Miles. After surviving a truly spine-tingling stroll through a pitch-black cell block with Chris Walker playing hide-and-seek, but only the seek part, we somehow escape. Barely. Again, only to get jump-scared by this delightful gentleman with a very funny-looking hand. Honestly, I see the potential. Sure, his hand's seen better days, probably has at least a handful of infections, but I got connections. I know a dark spirit that can probably patch him up. Bit of shadow magic here, little soul stitching there, and boom, new hand. I'll be sure to come back for him with a cult application. To meet this blind fellow who was talking about secrets, something silky, and having an itch. Now, aside from that creepy part, I think he's a pretty good example of one of my blinded. A member of my cult who gives up their vision for knowledge and or future sight. Honestly, I'll come back for him too. We then meet some grabby inmates. This man grabs Miles only to get shoved off the railing by this... I want to say fellow, but I don't know. I don't want to assume anything. And then we get grabbed by this guy to the bars. Honestly, someone needs to tell these prisoners about boundaries, because this is just not it. And because this game has a personal vendetta against floor integrity, we drop through yet another hole in the ground. Seriously, I've seen fewer holes in Swiss cheese. Then we find lockers with the word Wall Rider written in blood. Now this is the dark stuff I was looking for. And in the showers, we find yet another hole in the ground. Amazing. I honestly don't know what to expect. So we reload the camera and get ready to explore the sewers. And that is part 2 of my Cult Leader Explained. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm still kind of new to, YouTube and editing and everything, and I'm hoping to improve as I go on. Again, thank you so much for checking out my video. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe if you want to see more.
I'm on that good cushion alcohol.